heard over the last several days, creativity is central to unlocking new opportunities for out of home. And that's why we've invited two pioneering creatives here to share insights into the bold ideas that make out of home a high impact medium for engagement. We'll hear from Tim Bleakley, chairman of Ocean Outdoor, and then from our very own Shingy. So please join me in welcoming to the stage, Tim Bleakley.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all not too jaded after the whiskey bar and the cocktail parties and everything that you had last night. I'm delighted to be here to speak to you. First thing to say is I'm not a creative and I'm not a digital prophet, but I am a creative person who believes in creative for profit. And what I'm going to share with you today is some of the experiences that Ocean have had as we've really backed creativity and innovation in out of home. And I'm hoping that together we can mocha. We can make everybody a mocha. And apparently I can get away with this because I'm British. We're going to make outdoor creative again. So repeat after me. We're going to make outdoor creative again. And I'm going to take you through how some of the exciting things that Ocean have done, but also that we've seen across the world in terms of creativity in out of home. So the first thing to say is, what business are we in? I really get frustrated when I hear people talk about a lot of the things that other people's businesses are in, big tech, for example. The business I think we're in is advertising, the advertising business. And the advertising business is creative. And creative is our superpower. We are better at it than anybody else. It's very interesting sitting in the OAAA board as a guest a couple of days ago, hearing Tim Marshall talk about Google and how he set up Google, and talking about how they found the one thing that they were better at than everybody else. They were 1,000 times faster, and they doubled down on that one thing, and the rest is kind of history. And I think it's time for us to double down on the creative power of our medium. But there is a problem, and there is a challenge. There is a challenge. So I'm going to leave you in the hands of the famous Sir John Hegarty, who was at the Creative Summit in Stockholm last year, because the Advertising Association did a survey in the United Kingdom, and it showed that trust in advertising generally as an industry was at an all-time low. So let's find out what is the state of creativity in the advertising sector, not just out of home.
If you were to diagnose the state of creativity in brand communication in 2024, what would it sound like?
Well, I think it's in a terrible place. I think we're an industry that has lost the power of inspiration. I think we are no longer communicating with people in a way which they appreciate. More and more people are turning off. They're using ad blockers. We have gone from being a business that people sort of admired up to a certain point to being one that they now dislike. And I'm not sure how any industry can survive if people dislike you. I've not read a business book that said the way to make more success is to have a worse product.
The word's so true, and it's interesting, isn't it, that he's talking about a survey that was done and that was driven predominantly by what has happened to creativity in advertising, driven by big tech, and in a way the democratization and freedom of creativity in all advertising, where the actual standard of advertising and creative has gone down and down and down, and people's trust has gone down and down and down. People bombarded with ads all the time has gone down and down and down. But actually, that's not the case for out of home. We are dragged down by what's going on in the sector with a lack of trust in advertising, but trust is at an all-time high in our medium, and creativity and the creative opportunity is our superpower. And who wouldn't want to be creative? There's a lot of myths around creativity, and people seem to shy away from it and don't want to embrace it. But actually, it's the most important things in our businesses. Who wouldn't want to be artistic, inventive, original, imaginative, inspired, visionary, talented, gifted, clever, ingenious, resourceful? So when clients talk about creativity and they come to our medium because of the exciting things that we can do, in their mind, that's what they're thinking. That's what they want to be. That's what they want to be associated with. And that's what their brands want to be associated with. And this is something that we do better than anybody else in the advertising industry right now. So creativity has been, as I said, I'm a sort of creative for profit and creative for good, not a digital profit, but creativity in our business has been a central pillar from when we started the business 15 years ago. And we've invested in it, we've backed it. We have creative directors in every market across 7 countries. We have Ocean Labs, which is an innovation studio. We have Ocean Studios, which is a design and creative studio. And we have the digital creative competition. And the digital creative competition was started 14 years ago when all we had was 9 digital screens in the United Kingdom. And now it started in 2010. It's now in 7 countries. We've had over 2,500 entries. It's free to enter. It's commercial and not-for-profit. And we've given away over $15 million in prize money. But what have we actually done? All we've done is gone to the creative community and said, you know, give us an idea and we will make it happen. Because we found, as we started 15 years ago, the quality of the advertising that was being delivered to us to put on our screens was poor. They weren't using the capabilities. There was a lack of creativity. So we said, you know what? We have to take control of the canvas that we represent on our own channel. Hence the launch of the digital creative competition. And of course, it has gone on to become a byword in out-of-home for creativity. And people who've won our competition have subsequently gone on to win over 8 Cannes Lions. There's a particular campaign that changed the sort of course of this competition and actually changed the course of Ocean's entire business. I'm going to share it with you. It's quite hard-hitting. I'm going to talk to you now about a few examples like this and the benefit they've given to us as a business, practical guidance, if you like, for people who are thinking about investing more in creativity in their own business. So, how do we mock her? First of all, by staring down the painful truth. And here's 3 billboards making international news that went on to become the most awarded outdoor advertising ad of all time. This campaign has won more outdoor advertising awards, creative awards, media awards, buying, selling, international, domestic, you name it.
Domestic violence is still a taboo within our society. 2 women a week in England and Wales, on average, are killed by a partner or former partner.
So the idea for this poster is that we're going to show people a image of somebody who has been a victim of domestic abuse. And we're going to ask people to look at the poster, to look at her, and the more people that do, the more people that register this, it will actually change in real time. So she will go from being battered to being essentially a recovered victim.
That dares people to face domestic abuse. It's projected on a strip at the bottom of the screen.
It uses facial recognition.
So if you dare to be creative and you encourage creative minds to come to your business, you better be prepared for what they're going to bring to your business. But only our medium can tackle a subject like that in the public domain and in the community. But actually, by tackling it and creating that award-winning campaign, more and more and more ideas like this for good causes came to the door of Ocean. And over the years, we've managed to put a lot back into the community and socially by doing not-for-profit things to try and tackle difficult subject matters using the technology and the creativity of our industry. And actually, because of this campaign, it's the reason why now the competition is as successful as it is, because other creatives were encouraged to come and enter their teams into the competition. It's one of the most powerful campaigns that we've ever seen worldwide for digital out-of-home. But that's the hard-hitting stuff, but also, you know, there's the fantastic and beautiful creative stuff. Now, I can assure you, because I've checked, because I was on the Zoom call when this particular piece of work was signed off, Donatella Versace does not care about programmatic. She really, really does care about art, Greca goddess. So here's a campaign that ran on Piccadilly and also ran in New York. The interesting thing about this, and the interesting thing for our business, is off the back of this, we had to launch a separate studios division to cope with the demand that we got for what is now known homophobic and deep screen. And such that we now create campaigns that span different boundaries and different markets and different countries where you wouldn't even know that Ocean was involved as we white label the services, you know, to other operators. So creativity can enable you to enter new markets and drive your business in new directions, predominantly at a relatively low risk. The next one is connecting the digital to the physical. This happened down in London, near the Olympic Village in Stratford, Westfield Stratford, with Subway. And this was taking deep screen and amorphobic to a new level, where in effect you could select your own Subway sandwich, your own ingredients, using a QR code, and then the one that you selected jumped out of the screen right into your hands. It was a very, very, very successful campaign. The interesting thing about this, like a lot of things that we do, when you ask people to come with ideas, is they haven't been done before. So by working on these things and inviting these types of things into your business, it creates executional excellence at what are actually relatively difficult things, because you are constantly experimenting and testing the ability of your people. That excellence for delivery and project management attracts more people to your business again. Brands and agencies, they want the wow factor, but they don't want the risk. So if you've got experience in creativity, if you're trusted, if you've invested it in your business, more opportunities will come your way. This was an Obia award winner from last year, and I was pleased to see that another Scandinavian won a silver actually for the Adidas Run Adidas campaign in Stockholm. But this ran in Copenhagen in Denmark. This is a really, really interesting campaign. Not only was it award-winning, not only was it creative, but actually landlords in this space, particularly retail landlords, they really, really care about their environment. They cared about their net promoter scores. They cared about consumer engagement in that environment, and they cared about footfall. In this instance, this particular location was a digital out-of-home development that transformed the environment of a particular retail outlet in Copenhagen. Footfall rose, brand engagement scores rose, and these are important business practical things that come from creativity, and not least because it's a fantastic creative and you get the social impact on the back of it, but actually the relationship that our team had in Copenhagen with that landlord was transformed overnight because this delivered things that he cared about for his business. Particularly consumer engagement is so important in bricks and mortar retail right now. So some real world context. This campaign was a digital creative winner in our competition last year. And this, for those who don't know, this is Vasa, near the Vasa Museum in Stockholm. So I think it was Gustav Vasa II was the king of Denmark in 1600. And what was unique about him was, of his 21-year reign, 18 years of it he was at war. He was at war with Russia, he was at war with Poland, he was at war with Lithuania for 18 out of 21 years of his reign. And he built what was at the time the most powerful battleship ever known in the whole of naval history. And he sailed it out of Stockholm harbour 1,000 yards and it sunk because they'd got the load weighting wrong on the cannons and it went straight to the bottom, of the Baltic. But they managed to raise it up and it's in a fantastic museum in Stockholm now. Now what is great about this campaign, why is this good? The context here is incredible. And when you're dealing with municipalities in difficult places to get permits, difficult places for you to actually develop your products and your assets, going to your municipality and showing them the art of the possible with a digital screen with such context and something that means so much to the people of Sweden and the city of Stockholm, it breaks down barriers and opens doors, and it's just a fantastic campaign. And we do now have a screen in that location. So it just goes to show what these things creatively can deliver for your business. This is just a personal favourite I put in there, Specsavers campaign, a great campaign that's been run by talent all over the world for Specsavers, which is an optician's brand. And it was actually called Media Buyer because they're taking the mickey out of it, of course. And I just think this is absolute creative genius. But that's the other thing about creativity. In our industry, creativity can turn a silk purse into a sow's ear into a silk purse. You can take your worst location with a creative idea and turn it into something that is valuable. And this you should never, ever, ever give up on anything that you own as an asset because there's some creative idea out there that can transform that billboard to something that's highly valuable. One creative idea on a billboard like this attracts people to come back to that billboard with other creative ideas. So again, creativity, not a nice to have, it's a must have. And of course, the other thing we found with creativity is what it enables you to do in terms of collaboration, in terms of getting brands to do things that would be otherwise very uncomfortable doing. So here you have a campaign for Sky. Sky had never used Piccadilly until 2 weeks ago. And here they are showcasing sworn enemies brands, Discovery, Sky themselves, Netflix, 3 different streaming platforms, all on one ad on Piccadilly, because the solution was on Piccadilly you have to share. So they came up with a creative idea that embraced sharing, and they all worked together to occupy the same space. And it's just been an absolutely phenomenal success and phenomenal campaign, and they've subsequently come back for more and more and more. This was one of the winners of our digital creative competition around about 5 years ago for Ancestry. And the exciting thing about this is when somebody comes up with an idea like this, which is a nostalgia idea, some of these brands have not been active in advertising, they're dormant brands, or they've got new versions or new names, or they've been rebranded. So somebody presents this idea to you and you've got to go and make it happen. It means that your teams have now got to contact all of those brands that have been featured in that campaign and say, would you mind running this campaign? So you have to learn about the brands, you have to learn about the business. They themselves have to go back and check often. So to make this campaign happen, it really did lead to a lot of deep, meaningful conversations with advertisers and clients that we wouldn't have had but for this particular creative idea. Because to make it happen meant we had to lean in and do a lot of groundwork. So, you know, creative ideas like this can really, really break down barriers and elevate the conversations that you're having with ultimately the end pay of the media. And here's another one that's happened, I think, last year. This ran across 3 locations. And again, the opportunity for creativity is to cross boundaries. So this is a catwalk from Milan that's broadcast across LA, London, New York. Creative was produced centrally and in-house. And then the campaign ran internationally across these screens. Ocean don't operate these screens. We have partnerships with other people who have those screens, other than Piccadilly. But it enables us to do work across boundaries without necessarily having to take, you know, too much risk. And it's a fantastic idea in its own right. It's a big idea to take a live fashion show and broadcast it over 6,200 miles. It's a fantastic campaign. And finally, so I'll try and keep to time, we are fantastic at playing the fame game. So I thought I'd introduce you to someone very famous to let you see how she really appreciated her featuring herself as an outdoor advertising story.
Your face is all over town right now, including the biggest billboard, I think in Europe, which we're about to drive past.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't seen it.
Does that ever get normal? Is it ever...
No, didn't you
so
just see
weird.
me clap and didn't I can get distracted very fast.
Well, you're about to get very distracted by the massive billboard of you coming up. Right there.
Okay, are you gonna take a picture of me?
Yeah, we can. Well, we'll be on camera. There's Griselda.
Holy shit. Oh my god, it's huge. My nose looks huge.
You look amazing. There you are.
Griselda looks amazing. Wow. From here? Look at it over there. Can you see it?
So I feel as though I've gone full circle, because the second thing I noted when I was in the old AAA board was Todd Kaplan from Heinz Kraft, and probably a lot of you people in this room know him much better than I do. He came up with a great quote. I thought, I've written it down, I'm going to use it over and over again, which was, he said, stop telling me about how you publish the story and start telling me about why you're part of the story. And that's the opportunity of creativity for everybody in this room. And what business are we in? We're in the advertising business. And we're here to make advertising and outdoor creative again and again and again and again and again. If you look under your seats, you should find you've got one of these hats. Can everyone look under their seats, please, for your mocha hat? Now, one of them has a golden ticket in it that's going to get a special prize before Shing comes on. So everybody look under your hat, under your seats. If you've got a hat, grab a hat. Everybody put their hat on. Everyone put their hat on if you can. Come on now, come on. Let's get the energy in the room. Just put your hat on. Oh, well done, Annie. Thank you very much. Okay. And if the person could come up who's got the winning ticket, that'd be great. Someone's got a ticket on this. Yes, come up, sir. Come up, sir. Where's your hat? Bring your hat. Big round of applause. I don't know who this gentleman is. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? You okay? So, one more time. We're going to make outdoor creative again. What are we going to do? Outdoor creative again and again and again and again. So the prize is we have a very famous screen in the London Palladium. So the next time you're in London, you come to with your family or whatever you want to do, we're going to put you on the London Palladium screen. And if you, because he's going to become part of the story. And the second thing is, if you have a good cause or a charity, a little bit like Women's Aid or something like that, we're going to take that campaign and cause and make it famous for you.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay. So come and join us in London, and we'll do all those things.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. I'm now going to bring on Shingy, the real digital prophet.
Well done,
right.
Hey, man. Hey, guys, what's up? I don't know what it is. This knack I have when I get a chance to meet with you lot. You give me about 10 minutes to do a year's worth of education, so holy shit, let's get on with it. I love the mocha. I thought it said mogga. I got it completely wrong, thank God. Tim and I share a brethren. Yes, I'm not British. I hope there's a distinction in the accent, but he works for a company called Ocean, and I have a daughter named Ocean. So we're brethrens at the jump. Love this quote. It's mine. I'm with the brand. What the hell does that mean, dude? Obviously, I'm off-brand today because I'm wearing Adidas. I apologize to Chris. I do have New Balance, but I'm in the middle of actually moving, so who the hell knows where they are. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about something very, very simply with you, which is the gig, as you know, is to get people to brands and brands to people. This shit is hard. So why is it hard? It's hard because you're told about this. We all know about the world of intelligence. For 10 years, I've been talking about that as the Industrial Revolution. But here's what's up. I'm not going to jam on it other than give you some straight up evidence. Who knows of this company? Hands up, please. Thank you, beautiful humans. Guess what? In terms of valuable companies in the world, this is ranked number 3. It wasn't there 12 months ago. It wasn't even in the top 10. So it's right behind Apple and Microsoft. It's pretty nuts when you think about the value of what this technology is. But I have an anxiety attack. Every single time I open up an experience today, that whole rolly thing or some sort of sparkly things, they're experimenting in real time with you. And I'm telling you, intelligence is giving me massive anxiety attacks. Screen time used to give that to me. Now it's this shit. So it's interesting because it's all about fast experimentation. And by the way, if you are a CMO, Jim, Chris, Benji, that is no longer the title. This is not a chief marketing officer. You are a complex matrix observer. It is a weird and funky place to be, brothers and sisters. Why? Because we're all wanting to gain skills with these technologies, but maybe we're not actually gaining momentum, which is the biggest challenge for me. Why? Because production and experience at the center of that are people. So we're now the creator and the critic and the consumer of all of those things at the center of it. They used to be separated. So every single interface is confusing today because you can be both sides of it now. But here's where it becomes amazing. We've talked about this. I heard a little bit about it yesterday. If your job can be automated, it will be automated. So you might want to talk to your boss post-haste about figuring out something else if you're sitting there going, oh, I think a machine could do this. It's already going to be done. So get ahead of it, my friends. And of course, this is the most number one used buzzword in our industry, disruption, disruption, disruption. But it's very quickly followed with what? Experience. I don't think you're the out-of-home business, which is a very hard thing for me to say, because you guys know I just keep calling it outdoor, for God's sake. But honestly, I think that OOH is the new experiential. And the reality of that is you're in the transformation business, transforming the hearts and minds of 8 billion people on planet Earth. By the way, 50% of them are under the age of 30, never known life without the internet. And that's just the world we live in today. If you talk to this cat, he thinks that 95% of creative is going to be automated. Guess what? It could be, but it's going to be shit. So great, have at it. It means that 5% is going to stand out beautifully. And we saw that celebrated in the awards last night, I believe. And you cannot control the evolution of AI, my friends. It's coming with or without your permission, but you can control your own revolution of your own intelligence and your teams. And that's what I applaud you to do, please. And here's what's up. We just spent the entire industry of the entire time that the internet was invented across IQ. But it's very quickly moving to the internet of EQ. And if we just hang out with the nerds, we're not going to end up there. It's already happening. This whole idea of purpose and belonging is becoming more important than ever before. And it's not driven by technology, it's driven by you, humans. So the however is this, right, Shingy? What about hype? Is it all fabulous? No, it's way more hype than it is hip. And here's what's up. This is the cornerstone of your industry. I get it. I love this. I mean, as somebody who has hung out in digital all my life, data is the cornerstone of our industry. I get it, because that's really what drives intelligence. However, here's a dirty little secret. Data is always going to be historical. You are looking to the past, and you can't really get to where we're going to this creative future unless you use imagination, God bless. But if you are going to use AI in creative, please do it smartly. Here's a very good example of Cadbury, who used the #1 actor in the world. They scanned his his voice, his gestures, and created all of these thousands of hyper-geo-targeted ads. Why this is genius? The actor would never want to do that, 1, and 2, they could never afford his time. This is a great use of AI. Coca-Cola, as much as we laughed at them at Christmas time by doing that whole reboot of their ad, they've actually been doing AI for years. This is 3 years old. It's called Masterpiece. It is obviously AI and beautifully surreal. And it actually has real actors in it. So blending those hybrids is beautiful. They bring these paintings to life, and they built a microsite to celebrate it for those who don't know much about art. It's a beautiful way to blend culture. On a practical scale, somebody in this room probably did this work for Mars. This is an example of a dog food brand in the US that took the hero dog, removed it, and replaced it with dogs that can actually be rescued. Genius. And as soon as that dog's rescued, guess what? The creative gets updated automatically. That's a genius way of using AI. Why? If you go to a dog rescue company, most dogs look like Sad Larry, top left. But what AI has done is created a beautiful representation of that dog, so that could be happiness. That's AI in the wild, done beautifully, my friends. It's not all dystopian. And it is for the dreamers. I heard Chris say it earlier in that panel. It is for the dreamers, to truth. Why? I mean, you could sit back and imagine what Alice would look like in reality. That's kind of cool, dude. I'm here for that. I might want to not run a campaign around it, but I like the idea of it. None of this shit is a destination, though. My friends, it's simply a mindset change. Shift your mindset. Why? So what? I get it. Total eye roller. Here's where we're at. Honestly, stop calling consumers, and they're no longer consuming your content. Here's what's up. As soon as you call somebody a consumer, it's an arrogant position, because you're assuming that they're a customer. At best, they're probably a prospect, if I use your language. But they're no longer consumers consuming content. They are literally this: the creator, the critic, and the curator of experiences. They are what I call the slash gen. So much so I wrote a book about them. But their work and their play is completely blended, my friends. We're in a totally different world today. It's totally different. And here's the good news. It's not all Sad Larry today. Here's the good news. They actually love experiences over virtual. So in real life, yeah, the vast majority of people today, particularly kids, love real experiences. Awesome. Real experiences. I'm not talking about this sort of thing. You believe this thing sold for millions of dollars? I want to be in the banana business. But if you look at somebody amazing like Jacques Mus, have everybody seen this type of experience? It's a fashion brand you should follow if you do not. Why? Their secret weapon is CGI, which is also yours. It's incredible. But they do these incredible experiences, and if they catch fire, they actually physically build them. So this is a coffee shop that sits in Tokyo that looks like clearly one of their bags. It's stunning. And even in our hometown of New York, how many of you have gone up to see this thing? All of us. Stunning piece of work. This, my friends, is the new competitor. This is phenomenal. Particularly if you look at the Caddy Corner. The Caddy Corner brand is equally as important. Look at Prada. Imagine being that guy saying, oh my God, look what the bloody competitor did. And it's going to be there probably for 3 years, and Prada's like, oh shit, how do we deal with that? Ugh. But here's what's amazing. Audiences love community, yeah, and they also love this connection. But their world, as you know, is completely imperfect. Okay? Why? Because of this. You open and close and dick around with your phone a couple of hundred times a day. That's ridiculous. But also, if you think about our behaviors, check this.
这个音响平时卖200万贵，今天给你11来上车，抓紧手做没多单，10块，12块钱发。
This is an actual video of live shopping in China. This is to give you a sense of what's happening with this person. That's it. That's live shopping. That's giving me an anxiety attack just watching that shit. That is live shopping coming out of China. That lady is incredibly, incredibly popular, as you can imagine. But this impatience that we have, that's going to drive our intelligence down. because the world is absolutely overwhelming. You're hit with 1,500 media messages per day. At this convention alone, that thing has been doubled, if not quadrupled. There are like 3 or 4 trucks just out front just trying to tell us that outdoor matters. It's incredible to me when we think about this overwhelming experience. And then it's underwhelming because I can't find what I'm looking for. Have you seen Google search results recently? It looks like Craigslist from the 1990s, dude. There's something really weird about it. But I will tell you that you're not fighting for this attention economy. That's over. Every single one of you that's looking down at a screen that I see glaring back at you right now, you have an intention that's different. That's the difference in psychology. It's no longer attention, it's intention. So just think about that. Every single time I unlock this experience, which should be a companion to everything you do in the real world, that intention is a psychological change. Okay. This is the biggest problem in our industry. Does anybody have an ad blocker? Please raise your hand if you do. Right, that's probably about 20% of you, and you're in the marketing business, I thought. If I do that in front of high school kids, guess what that number is? It's like 90%. It's ridiculous. There's 1 billion ad blockers installed. That's a big problem for us. But I think your biggest competitor today in the industry of out of home against all the other paradigms of where people are trying to buy for people's intention is indifference. So I would like you to think about that. Let's talk about it a bit longer than 10 minutes, but that for me is a big moment. Every single brand on planet Earth is trying to be somewhere in this quadrant. They're trying to be amazing. They're trying to be good and fearless, top right. True? True. Most of them are sitting right there. But there's something about what you can do in this industry to actually move them to that. And that's what? Moving people's hearts and minds. And you can only do it from 3 things. You only have 3 things in your toolkit, my friends. You have sight, sound, and motion. To do what? Drive emotion. Why? 75% of purchase decisions are made emotionally. We sell to the heart, we justify to the head. And you know that. Every time I buy something big and expensive, I'm like, oh my God, how do I justify this? I'm not that fancy. Maybe I am, what the hell. But here's what's up. I love brands. And I'm going to tell you that if you take some of the parts that you have available in that sight, sound, and motion, I promise you they can work independently for you too. I'm going to do something a bit different today. I'm going to talk about designer log. What is that? It's a word I came up with. Why? I'm the buzzword king. But let me explain you what a designer log is. I think that you're able to identify things even with just sight. Let me just explain. A picture was 30,000 times faster to recall than a word. That's why we love this visual language of pictures. But let me show you one. Can somebody tell me what they see here? Who said Lego? That was super fast. Female voice, amazing. What else do you see? Simpsons. They're both right. No logo. Pretty amazing. Whose brand is this shit? No logo. Who's this? Anybody know when Coca-Cola came out? With this particular bottle called the Contour? 1916. Iconography is dope, dude. Let's continue. Who's this brand? Oh yeah, Ferrari. Fucking fancy. Who's this? I just want to see what you guys are seeing. What's happening here? What's that? Your figure. Dang. It looks like you might be wearing it, mate. Ripper. What about this? Ah, Ripper. How about that? Oh, that was quick. Some smokers are still here. Who knew? Shit. That's still a thing? You dirty, rotten scoundrels. What about that? Amen. Hot Wheels. Hey, what took you back to your 10-year-old? You feel me? Yeah, I get it. What about written words? Do we think that matters too? By the way, that visual architecture is easy, isn't it? It's amazing what can happen. No words, my friends. What about words? Whose tagline is this? Yeah, big surprise. What about, that's a softball. What about this? Oh, that was fast. I was hoping a man would say that because Mother's Day's coming, for God's sake. Yes, De Beers. What about this? Melt in your mouth, not in your hands. M&M's. What about this? There are some things money can't buy, for everything else there's MasterCard. You guys are so easy. I love this. Happiest place on earth. Oh, that was said with conviction and a hangover. Ripper. Disneyland. Oh, Disney World. Is that right? I don't fucking know. Disney? Not my bag, dude. Right. Who's this? Mickey D's. What about that? Oh, wow. You guys are good. Thank you. Beautiful. What about sound? Let me tell you something. The visual cortex, that part of your brain that does memory recall, is incredible. But guess what it doesn't do? It doesn't drive emotion, except for that one person who yelled at Disney with more joy than I've ever seen. But for the rest of us, it's sound, man. Sound is so emotional. I'd much rather listen to a soundtrack from when I was 15 than watch the film it came from. You too? Amen, right? I could burst into tears just listening to whatever I was doing at that time, man. And it probably wasn't good. But let's test that. Whose brand is this? We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum. Obviously, it's in the goddamn name. State Farm, you idiot, Shing. Keep the volume hot, please, guys, because I don't know how low these are. But what's this? Whoa, what? Ah, thank you. What about this? All right, I'm checking out the 16-year-olds to see whether I got that right. So that's right, you lot, brilliant. Netflix. How about this brand? I did this for the grey hair in the room, man. This Windows. I may never be invited again. How about this? Macca's, yeah. Ripper. What about this, my friends? Do you know, thank you. Proud and loud. How about this one? I brought it up. God, I'm sorry. Scares the hell out of me at that volume, doesn't it? Oh, okay, and it goes on for minutes. Who knew? MGM. But it's pretty amazing how many of us got that right, yes? Some of the parts could be greater than the whole. We're not just in the visual identity world. You're in all of those visualness. Imagine doing something incredible with an experience that actually embedded sound into that experience as opposed to it just being visual. There's something very powerful about that. But what can we do that's better than the machine, my friends? Well, we're here to create culture. When you are working with brands, don't just try and reflect their culture. Help them invent it, help them create it. Well, how do you do that, Shingy? It's pretty simple. Get the hell out of your category and hang out on culture. Understand what people are consuming, what they're eating, what they're listening to, how they're actually expressing it. All of those incredible things are actual culture outside of your category. And in the middle there is this beautiful thing called disruption, which is what every brand is going to ask you to do in the brief. So how to be bold over bland? What a bloody great question. There's something that really keeps it hot in my mind, and it's to have a great point of view. And I'm glad it went away in a millisecond. Here's an example I love. Pretty bloody amazing, isn't it? Here's your new brief. Please, instead of making people want stuff, we used to make people want stuff. That was funded my entire career. Please reframe this to make stuff that people want. And with that, brothers and sisters, thank you for this hot 10 minutes. God bless. Take care. See you later.